Pokemon Stadium might be one of the most difficult Pokemon games ever made. And for the record, it is Pokemon Stadium, specifically Pokemon Stadium 2, that inspired me to start doing challenge runs because I wanted to get good enough that I could beat this game. For those of you who haven't played Pokemon Stadium, it's a truly fascinating game. Unlike its handheld counterparts or GameCube sequels, the game doesn't have any sort of single-player walking around adventure mode. It is just a series of battles, and most of those battles take place in the aptly named Stadium. Now, the Stadium is broken down into 4 cups, each with their own restrictions. In all the cups, however, you have to beat 8 trainers consecutively, asterisks. You're able to select 6 Pokemon, and only 3 are going to be used in battle. If you win, you move on to the next one. If you lose, you're done, asterisks. There are 2 different methods you can use to bring Pokemon into these battles. If you're playing the Switch version, then there's only one. And that method is rental Pokemon. These Pokemon have predetermined stats and movesets, and this is the way most people play the game. But if you have an N64 and a transfer pack, you can bring in your own Pokemon. And in today's video, that is precisely what we're gonna do, but not just any Pokemon. We're gonna try to do a solo run in Pokemon Stadium and try to get at least 1 trophy, if not multiple trophies. The Pokemon I'm gonna pick, shockingly, is Abra. By the way, you ever wonder why Kadabra is my favorite Pokemon? We're coming full circle. It's Pokemon Stadium and Stadium 2. Kadabra is amazing. But for now, I'm gonna see if I can beat Pokemon Stadium with just this Abra. Now, this Abra is not perfect by any means. It's just a random Abra I caught in a game of Pokemon Red. But there are 2 advantages this Abra will have over a standard rental Pokemon. One is that I can pump it full of vitamins. This won't max out its stat experience, but it'll definitely help. The bigger deal, however, we're gonna try the Pika Cup. The reason why I like this cup is, well, it's the lowest level one, so I don't have to train up my Abra too much. And although technically there's no restrictions on Pokemon, there is restriction on level, between level 15 and level 20. Now, you can't just bring 1 Pokemon, unfortunately, in Stadium 1, but I'm just going to bring a bunch of Psychic Pokemon so I don't manipulate the AI. I feel like if the AI sees a team of Psychic Pokemon, they're more likely to select the team that they think will be strongest. I think that's how the AI works, at least in the later battles. But you'll notice that all the Pokemon I can rent are level 15, while my Abra is going to be level 20. And while I will have to enter the battles with 3 Pokemon, if Abra faints, I will just reset. So can I actually win a cup with just a single Pokemon? Well, let's see. Like I said, I have to win 8 consecutive battles, and as this is a game from the 90s, there's no procedural generation or anything like that. I can know exactly who I'm going to fight. And the first trainer is really easy, a Bug Boy. His team is horrendous, but this is clearly intended as the first battle a player will have in Stadium, so it starts off really tame. But first, a big thank you to Zen Market for sponsoring today's video. Zen Market is a proxy shopping service that helps people who aren't in Japan buy and ship goods directly from Japanese sites, just like a local, without having to know Japanese or have access to a Japanese address. Using Zen Market is really easy, and today we're going to be looking for the original Pokemon Stadium. The game we got was actually a sequel to this game. I'm going to copy the Japanese name just to make the search a little easier, and you can see I can search various marketplaces like Mercari, Rakuten, Amazon. All you need to do is add it to your cart, and you get free 60 days of storage, and you can ship all your items combined in one parcel to save on shipping fees. And until February 20th, Zen Market is running their New Year shipping campaign where you can get 20% off up to 5,000 yen per parcel. So if you're looking to buy things from Japan, well then sign up for Zen Market and use my promo code JROSE11 to get a free 1,000 Zen point bonus, which is equal to 1,000 yen off your international shipping fee. This Abra doesn't even have a full moveset. I am really just going to be using Psychic, so we'll even see if we can do a single Pokemon, a single move. The first Pokemon he sends out is Kakuna. That doesn't go very well for him. The second Pokemon he sends out is Ekans, or Ekans. That doesn't go very well for him. And then the third Pokemon he sends out is Butterfree, which in modern Pokemon actually would be a pretty good matchup, but it's not here. I'm sure some of you are scoffing, but I promise you this game and even this cup gets a lot harder. Having said that, remember all those asterisks I said about winning consecutively? Well, if you beat a trainer and not a single Pokemon faints, you will get a continue. And since we're doing this as a solo challenge, every time we win, we will get a continue. This does mean we're allowed to lose, and potentially by losing, we can learn a little bit about what the AI wants to do. But right now, what the AI wants to do is be terrible, because the second trainer is Lad. It's kind of funny due to text limitations, so they had to change the names from like Youngster and Bugcatcher to Lad and Bugboy. But yeah, another trainer that's not going to be very difficult. He brings in Farfetch'd, Ivysaur, and Geodude, and each and every one of them is one-shot by Psychic. You may have noticed that Ivysaur is level 16. This is actually part of the reason Stadium gets so difficult. If you restrict yourself to rental Pokemon, you're only going to be using level 15 Pokemon, while in at least Pika Cup, the trainers are allowed to use any 3 Pokemon in a battle whose total levels add up to 50. Now in this case, they added up to just 46, but in the later battles, they will likely approach or get to 50, which for the record, my team adds to 50 because I have a level 20 Abra and then 2 level 15 Pokemon. The third battle is still relatively easy, Swimmer. He has 3 level 16 Pokemon, a Nidorino, well that's going to be pretty easy, a Wartortle, and a Poliwhirl. Note that both Nidorino and Staryu, for the record, and Poliwhirl can legally evolve and still be allowed because they'd be at level 15, but he brings in Staryu, Magikarp, and Wartortle, all of which still one-shot by Psychic. Typically it's around Battle 5 where things get a little more difficult, but by Battle 4, there is a Ninetales. However, the movesets, if you look at them, they're still awful. Thus far, there's yet to be a Pokemon we haven't one-shot yet, so I'm kind of seeing if that's going to stop happening. And guess what? I jinxed it because the very first Pokemon is a Drowsy, and not only does Drowsy easily tank a Psychic, it actually puts me to sleep. Gen 1 sleep. The problem for Drowsy is that it doesn't have Mega Punch or Headbutt, and this is a good time to point out, there are round 2 versions of these challenges that I know would be impossible with just a single Pokemon. I want to make it clear that even though I'm making it look easy, Pokemon Stadium is a very difficult game. It just starts out deceptively easy until it decides, yeah. Anyway, for now it stays relatively easy and we defeat the Burglar. Now we move on to Mr. Fix. The 7-character limit of these names is really funny because you can't use Engineer, which is 8 characters. Mr. Fix has 3 fully evolved Pokemon if you count Porygon, including a Raichu with Thunderbolt and a Kingler, although it just has Bubble Beam, but Kingler's a physical attacker anyway. But looking a little closer, you'll notice that Raichu and Porygon are level 18. This is very important, because since the lowest level of Pokemon you can use is 15, there is no way to have 2 level 18 Pokemon on a team. So it's either Raichu or Porygon, and we see Raichu. Now, again, I just have 1 move, so I'm just going to go for Psychic, and it doesn't one-shot the Raichu. This isn't surprising. Raichu goes for Body Slam, which is really concerning, and it gets a critical hit, but we survive on 2 HP. Now Abra needs to one-shot everything, and we got lucky we didn't get paralyzed. We one-shot Magnemite, the next Pokemon, but will we one-shot Kingler? Its special is really low, no special defense, and it's enough to knock it out, but probably not if this was Gen 2. Close call, but so far, 5 battles, 5 victories, but Raichu certainly gave us a run for our money. But now we get to Battle 6, once again, 2 fully evolved Pokemon, but if we look at the movesets, these are pretty legit. Also, you'll notice that A next to Seadra, that's because it is impossible to get a level 15 Seadra within either Gen 1 or Generation 2 if you trade it back. So even though it's at the lowest level possible, here's an instance of the game doing something you couldn't possibly do. Now looking at the levels of the team, if Rhyhorn is used, Seadra and Wigglytuff will be on the team, and if we see any of Machop, Ghastly, or Kadabra, we know Rhyhorn can't be on the team. Although with its low special, I'm not too worried about Rhyhorn, even though that Earthquake will do a ton of damage. Well, the first Pokemon is Wigglytuff, which doesn't give us any useful information. It also has great HP and pretty great special, so I'm doubting we're gonna knock it out, and when you see special fell, that means we didn't. It goes for Mega Kick. This could one-shot me, but it missed. Man, we're getting lucky. And Wigglytuff faints. Next comes out Seadra, so there's a solid chance Rhyhorn is the third Pokemon. We outspeed Seadra because we're 5 levels higher, but Seadra has pretty good special as well, even though it has low HP. So it survives on 3, it goes for Double Edge. Had Mega Kick hit, we probably would faint, but Seadra not only does 20 damage, I said only twice, only, but it knocks itself out. And then out comes Rhyhorn. As far as I know, it wasn't automatic Rhyhorn was the third Pokemon. He could have selected any Pokemon, but after 2 level 15s, it made sense. Now, if this somehow tanks a Psychic, we're in trouble. But it doesn't. And another first try victory. I actually did not anticipate this being as easy as it was, especially because I didn't even trade this into Gold, Silver, Crystal and give it the elemental punches, which is what I did as a kid. So not only is this possibly going to be a solo run cup, but a psychic only solo run cup. I did not see this coming. We're in the semifinal and we battle Alas. Only one pre-evolved Pokemon here, Meowth, which is the worst Pokemon. Everything else is pretty legit. We're going to get one of Gyarados or Tentacruel, and then any of the other Pokemon can appear. Mr. Mime would be pretty problematic because it's a Psychic type, and this may be where we can't just use Psychic and win, but let's see. Well, good news, Tentacruel leads off, and it's going to be the worst Pokemon to face. We outspeed, we go for Psychic, and it survives, which I'm not surprised at. But rather than attack, it goes for Toxic. Now, this could have been a problem. I mean, imagine it went for Wrap. But the thing is, in Pokemon Stadium, when you knock out a Pokemon, the poison damage doesn't activate. And so as long as I one-shot everything, we're fine. The next Pokemon is Arcanine, so this is definitely one I didn't want to face because it has great stats, and unsurprisingly, Psychic doesn't knock it out. It then goes for Dig, so Toxic will hit me, and it's at this point I have to break my streak of only using Psychic and use my other move that does something, Reflect, because, I mean, it's going for Dig. Why would I not do that? So it does go for Dig. Had I not used Reflect, that would have been pretty bad. I wouldn't faint, but if I don't one-shot the next Pokemon, I think the poison could have knocked me out. The last Pokemon is Mr. Mime, so now I know for a fact we would lose if I didn't use Reflect. But this Mr. Mime does have Seismic Toss, so it's very possible that we're finally going to suffer a loss here. We do under half, which is bad. Poison hits, we get Seismic Tossed, and now there's only one chance for us to continue this improbable solo run winning streak. Now, you know that critical hits are determined by speed, but in Stadium 1 they changed the formula, so Abra only has a 16% chance. Do we get it? No, we don't. And so Mr. Mime survives on 4 HP, and the poison knocks us out. So in the end, Tentacruel did knock us out. And since I can't enter with just one Pokemon, I send out Kadabra, press start, and quit the battle. But since we have so many continues, we have 6 more tries at this. Now, to keep things consistent, I always select Abracadabra and Alakazam. This is to ensure I don't unintentionally manipulate what Pokemon she uses, and it turns out it's just kind of random because this time we get Gyarados. So I'm going to go for Psychic against Gyarados. It doesn't do all that much. Gyarados goes for Double Edge. It has a ton of attack, and I survive on just 3 HP. This does guarantee we knock out the Gyarados, but there is Mr. Mime again, and we know Mr. Mime is going to knock us out. So now we've gone from winning 6 consecutive battles to very quickly losing 2. Told you this game gets harder, even for an Abra. And for the record, I could have used an Alakazam if I wanted to. So Abra again comes out, and Gyarados. All right, well, we've seen this play before. I go for Psychic, but this time I get a critical hit. I don't think we've gotten many of those. Certainly not as many as we could have. But unfortunately, we get a low roll. So Gyarados survives, goes for Double Edge, which can't miss, and we're in the exact same situation as last battle, and very quickly, we're burning through all our continues. Attempt 4, and this time she leads with Arcanine, which is interesting. We know this won't one-shot without a crit, and we get the crit. All right, pretty lucky. So Arcanine faints. Next comes out Mr. Mime. Seems that she's always going to use this against me. And this is kind of a moment of truth. A special drop or a crit would be massive here, but we get neither. So it's going to be a 3 KO possibly. It goes for Barrier, however, which is super lucky as opposed to going for Seismic Toss. We don't knock it out with Psychic. It then goes for Psychic, and that's a massive problem because it's a 33% chance to lower our special, because now we have to deal with either Gyarados or Tentacruel with way less special attacking power. So we knock out Mr. Mime, and it is going to be Tentacruel, which is good for me. All right, maybe we'll lower Tentacruel special, or maybe it goes for Toxic, which at this point wouldn't be bad. We go for Psychic, but it actually does more than I anticipated, and so we're going to knock it out next turn. It gets a critical hit, and by the skin of our teeth, with 2 HP to spare, on our 4th try, we have made it to the Pika Cup final. I told you guys this wouldn't just be easy. I mean, I was just kind of messing around just using Psychic, but at the time of the game's release, that really is the only good move Abra could have. It wouldn't be until Generation 2 and then trading back, which the game really never thought you could do because it didn't know what TMs were going to exist. So at least we can say this is the most legit Gen 1 Abra we could possibly have. But we've made it to the final battle versus the Fisher. His team is no joke, except for that Tentacool. That would be a pretty big joke. We're down 3 continues from the semifinals, and Slowbro would be pretty horrendous to get. Let's see what happens. Well, wouldn't you guess, the first Pokemon is Slowbro. So I'm going to go for Psychic. I need to see a special drop. I don't get it. It's going to be a 3-shot. Slowbro has Psychic as well. Thankfully, it doesn't do much and no special drop. I go for Psychic, no special drop. It gets the special drop. So I am going to knock out Slowbro, but that's going to put me at a huge disadvantage. And out comes Clefable, a fairly decent Gen 1 Pokemon. Obviously, I'm going to go for Psychic, and its special falls. It also did about half, which is good. Clefable goes for Double Edge, which is Stab, since it's still normal type. And it does almost everything. And so I think this battle is over. I'm going to knock out Clefable, but Dragonair, let's see how much we do. Maybe we'll get a critical hit, and this will be over, and that would be really funny. It's level 18. I go for Psychic, no crits. And, oh, I probably would have won if I didn't get that special drop. But, oh my god, in the Pika Cup, Dragon Rage is devastating. Not quite as good as Psychic, but a lot of Pokemon barely have more than 40 HP, so yeah, there's a loss. I was really hoping that I'd see something else, but of course I see Slowbro again. No special drop on my first Psychic, no special drop on his first Psychic, and no crit on my second Psychic. Now it all comes down to whether we get a special drop. Yeah, let's go! So we knock out Slowbro. Now comes out Clefable, so it looks like we're getting the same team. We go for Psychic. That does decent damage. We know it's going to do almost all. Uh-oh. Come on, 10% miss, 10% miss, 10% miss, 10% miss, 10% miss. Did I say 10% miss? I meant 10% crit. Actually, I think it's a little higher than that, but yikes. All right, it's getting dicey. Told you this wouldn't be easy. But Dragonair comes out, and this is theoretically good. And it's going to swap. This is great. That's a turn wasted. And crit and special drop. I don't think we actually needed both, but that means Slowbro is going to faint. Now we need to maybe tank a Hyper Beam though. We go for Psychic. No! Not if we get a critical hit! And now Dragonair comes out. We hit it with Psychic. And oh my gosh, it's a one-hit KO without a crit. Let's go! We have, in fact, gotten a cup with one Pokemon using one move, in fact. But I know what you might be thinking. J-Rose, can you really feel so accomplished? I mean, the Pika Cup is the easiest cup. Why don't you try something a little more challenging? And you want to know my response to that? This was 5 years ago. What would you like me to do? How about try another cup 5 years ago? Now, you may have wondered, why would I use an Abra in Pika Cup when, in theory, I could have used a Kadabra or even Alakazam? Those are easy to obtain and perfectly legal at level 20. Well, because we're going to be doing what's called the Petit Cup. Of all the cups in both Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2, this is one of the weirder and more fascinating ones. So the levels range between 25 and 30. And that means for the 3 Pokemon you take, their level cannot exceed 80. But what's interesting is which Pokemon are allowed. Looking at the allowed Pokemon list, you might be tempted to say, oh, this is just like Little Cup in Pokemon Stadium 2, just at levels 25 to 30. But the actual way it judges which Pokemon are allowed is it bans any Pokemon weighing more than 20 kilograms and more than 2 meters. One of the rare times height and weight in Pokemon really matter. While for the most part you're just getting pre-evolved first stage Pokemon, some Pokemon like Rhyhorn are still banned, and some single stage Pokemon like Ditto and Farfetch'd are allowed. But for our purposes, what's important is that while Kadabra and Alakazam are banned, Abra is allowed. So we're going to try doing the Petit Cup with just an Abra. And not just any Abra, the exact same Abra that just won the Pika Cup. Now, just like last time, we can't get too confident with the early battle against another Bug Boy, but Abra makes very quick work of first the Bellsprout, which isn't a bug, then the Paris, which is a bug, and then the Caterpie, although this could have been a Grass Boy because technically there was just as much grass as there was bug. Again, just like the Pika Cup, we battle a Lad, and we're going to have a real easy time. There's a Rattata, there goes Rattata, there's a Bulbasaur, there goes Bulbasaur, there's an Ekans, that's how they pronounce it in this game, there goes the Ekans. Yay! Now in Battle 3, we get a new trainer class, and this is where you start to see that each trainer class has a bit of a gimmick to them. Every Pokemon this nerd has can use Self-Destruct or Explosion, and something else you'll notice is that he does have 2 level 30 Pokemon, meaning we'll get one of Fingkoff or Cute Egg. I actually really like how they do nicknames in these games. I think it's really cool. But yeah, we do really want to see the Coughing and not the Execute, because I don't think we one-shot, and Explosion will definitely one-shot. Well, he leads with Geodude, which doesn't have Sturdy because abilities aren't a thing, and that didn't do what it does now until Gen 5. Also, you'll notice that based on the nickname, the Pokemon's coloring is a bit different. This, I think, was a precursor to Shinies. And there's Execute. Hooray! So what do I want to do here? I mean, do I really have any other options? If I had Fire Punch, then I probably one-shot, but we're going to go for Psychic. It doesn't do much at all. And what's it going to do here? Yep, here's Explosion. Level 30 on level 30. Execute doesn't have the greatest attack. And no. So already we lost in the 3rd battle. Bit of an issue since we don't have continues yet, but in the next battle he leads with Coughing, meaning no Execute because they're both level 30, and then Ghastly, and then Voltorb, and that was pretty easy. So it was a 50-50 shot what he was going to use. This battle definitely illustrates the limitations of using a Kadabra with a single Psychic move, but hey, of the now 11 battles we've done, 8 of them we've done on the first try, so I think Abra's doing pretty good. Unfortunately, looking at the next battle, it seems like we're in for a big disappointment. Although the Goldeen has Surf and the Spearow has Fly, there are no level 30 Pokemon and the potential for a Magikarp. So, yeah. Anyway, Krabby's first. Bad special. It faints. Magikarp is Magikarp. It faints. Horsey's probably the best Pokemon, but it doesn't have a good move, and it's a Horsey, and it's level 27, and it faints. So we're back to winning a lot. But it is typically Battle 5 where things get a lot more difficult. And it's really funny how Pokemon can have up to 10 characters, but they can't even put Junior Trainer. So it's just Junior Female Sign, which is pretty funny. Looking at this team, I mean, I don't know if there's any big issues. Abra might be, but it just has Psywave and Tri-Attack, which, to be fair, is pretty well suited for fighting another Abra. But I'm 4 levels higher. We'll see. I think this one's not going to be so bad. She leads with Cubone, and because their levels are all so close to each other, she can use any combination. So Cuckoo, or QQ, more like PU, because it stunk. I don't know. It fainted. What do you want? Now out comes Poliwag. If it survived, actually, I really like the color. Man, I kind of wish shinies were so much more interesting. Like, imagine you can find Pokemon of all different colors. It's like Yoshi. Anyway, that Poliwag looks amazing, but it sucked. And that was the one I was a little worried about. Growlithe has good moves, but it's just a Growlithe, right? And yeah, Psychic knocks it out. Another first try victory. Now, looking ahead to the next trainer, Junior Male, it's disappointing to say the least. He has to use one of Diglett or Magnemite just because you can't use 3 level 27s. And Squirtle has Surf, but Charmander is terrible. Zubat is just genuinely terrible. Farfetch just has Peck. I mean, this looks really, really bad for Battle 6. Well, Farfetch is probably one of the stronger Pokemon in this tier, but Psychic knocks it out. So there goes that. Magnemite is decent special, and it does tank the Psychic. It uses Thunderbolt, which can paralyze, but it doesn't get that paralysis, and because special is both offensive and defensive, there goes the battle. Unless Diglett outspeeds, but it doesn't, and it's a Diglett. So we're on Battle 7. But something I just realized, even though I've looked at the list a couple times, is that one of the Pokemon that is too heavy is Drowsy. And looking ahead to the next 2 battles, there are no Psychic-type Pokemon. So this might be a lot easier than Pika Cup, because really the biggest kryptonite for Abra is another Psychic Pokemon, specifically one that can use non-Psychic moves. Well, there are only 2 Psychic Pokemon allowed in the Petit Cup. We already faced them, and for some reason, I don't think there's any repetition. So while in that sense we might be in the clear, these movesets are no joke. So the semifinal last leads with Kabuto, meaning we won't see Eevee, but we can see any other Pokemon. Kabuto is not great in terms of special, but oh, we do knock it out. I didn't think we would. Very good. Next comes out Vulpix. It knows Quick Attack, but it's a Vulpix, so it doesn't do very much, and Psychic knocks it out. And then comes out Clefairy. We go for Psychic. It tanks it. It goes for Body Slam. This could potentially paralyze, but it doesn't. By the way, Pokemon Stadium tells you right away. I love that about it. Don't have to sit there waiting like, am I paralyzed? But yeah, we do win. Now we have the final battle versus a Pokemoniac. I say that because it's PKM, like, I know it's supposed to be Pokemaniac, but PKMN tends to stand for Pokemon, so it's really a Pokemoniac. I feel like they could have come up with something a little better, but looking at his team, he has 2 of the best pre-evolved Pokemon, not in terms of solo runs, but in terms of actual competitive battles. Dratini has no weaknesses and knows Dragon Rage. Omanite, great special with Surf. And then we have a Sandshrew and a Psyduck. The Nidos are going to be really easy. I don't even know what the point of that Nidoran female is. And Nidoran male is Poison Sting and Double Kick. Like, okay. So those are kind of gimmies. And of course, because the game loves me right now, we get Nidoran male, and that is an easy one-shot. Next comes out Dratini. All right, let's see how this goes. I go for Psychic. It goes for Thunder Wave. Ooh, look at these strats. Very good, Dratini. Now, oh, no. No, you don't do this. This is still Gen 1 Wrap. Oh my god, this is the strat, guys. This is exactly the strat. Oh, I didn't even think about this. So in Generation 1, I'm sure a lot of you know, but if you don't, Wrap will just hit consecutively between 2 to 5 turns, and I can't attack. This is a really cheap strat that they love to exploit in Pokemon Stadium. And then when it gets low enough, oh wow. Don't even bother keep going for Wrap. Switch to Dragon Rage. This is no joke. Holy mackerel. All right, so I really don't want to see Dratini now. Psyduck should be fine. I go for Psychic. Its special is pretty good. It faints. Next. Ah, the Nidoran male again. All right, well, that's easy. Final Pokemon. Omanite or Dratini? It is Sandshrew? What? Why didn't he use a level 30? That's so bizarre. I didn't even think the AI worked like that. Well, that was kind of an anticlimactic end. I mean, yay! We beat the Petit Cup with just an Abra! I can't believe it! Let's go! Yeah, that's not quite the epic final battle we got in the Pika Cup, but that is 2 cups cleared with just an Abra. I guess the next thing to do would be evolve it into a Kadabra and try the Poke Cup and Prime Cup, but those are a little more complicated. Unlike the Petit Cup and Pika Cup, which just consist of 8 battles and that's it, the Poke Cup and Prime Cup each have 4 rounds of these 8 battles. Sadly, I never even attempted to do this 5 years ago, but if you're interested in seeing whether a single Pokemon can get not just a couple cups, but every single achievement in Pokemon Stadium 1, let me know. But the truth of the matter is, the more you like, the more you comment, the more people see it, the more likely I'm going to make another video because, you know, that's just how YouTube works. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm glad I finally got to talk about this after all these years, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.